Hello world, welcome back to Marie Lon Arts, Art of Tarot. I'm happy to be back. It's been extremely busy and exciting weekend. I was looking forward to this conversation. I was looking forward to sit down and ground myself and allow ourselves to talk about what is coming up. We are entering a very exciting week and month. February is now wrapping up. We are in the last week of February, and this Friday, on the 28th of February, we are having a new moon in the sign of Pisces. Sun will be in Pisces, the moon will be in Pisces. We are dealing with a lot of deep, watery energy. Pisces is the third water sign in the zodiac wheel. Is the last zodiac sign in the whole wheel in the astrological year. So we are closing one chapter and we are getting ready for a new one. It's really important to have this conversation now because this will help us to get ready and prepare ourselves to what's coming with the month of March, which will be super exciting, charged with energies and astrological events. We'll be having two eclipses happening in March. One will be on the 14th of March, lunar eclipse, and a solar eclipse on the 29th of March. So loads to talk about. Also, we are starting the season of Aries, which is the start of astrological year, shift of the energy, that young fire, that very exciting feeling that will be taking us to our next chapter, our next journey, our next level. So to be ready for it and to prepare ourselves the best, spiritually, emotionally, energetically, physically, it will be very important to have this conversation now because you might be feeling overwhelmed. Pisces is picking up a lot of energies from around. Things are coming up from the underworld. Things are coming up from the unseen. And how we can ride those waves, how we can use those feelings and emotions and our thoughts in the best possible way. And as I said, prepare ourselves for what is coming. We do have a couple of strong cards on the table. I'm going to start with maybe element of water that is showing up on the table. And we have three cards. The first one is the Ace of Cups. Ace, the beginning, the start. Cups, all about feelings and emotions. We have that new moon energy and new moon cycles are the best time for us to sit down, reflect, write down those intentions, and bring in more of what we need for ourselves, being it emotionally, spiritually, in material sense, and so on. With the Ace of Cups, we have that theme of a new and exciting feeling coming in, and that you're ready to explore and you're ready to watch it grow in a way. The next card is a Ten of Cups, and it's interesting to see. Well, I do have let's talk about Nine of Cups first for a second. What is it I would really like to manifest? What is it I would really like to create for myself? How do I want to feel? Maybe those are the questions you can write down. Journaling is one of the ways that could really help us ground ourselves, especially when there is quite a lot of happening behind the scene, unseen, subconsciously, all those dreams coming up, and so on. So by writing down, we can really reflect on our feelings and thoughts. So what is it I would like to manifest? And then really this is a huge jump from One of Cups to the Nine of Cups. Create that space for yourself where you really feel like, I understand how much I have already done and I know how far I came, even when it comes to your emotional journey and expansion. And really allowing yourself to be in that space for a moment and say take a deep breath and say I deserve to be happy and I deserve to feel happy, and really focusing on all the good stuff that are there. Nine of Cups is the card that talks about the wish fulfillment. The other card on the table from the same symbol of cups is the 10 of cups. This is the maximum we can get from this energy. So we are starting the conversation with some really, really beautiful and positive cards, right? And if we talk about Pisces, this is one of those signs that is always like showing up for others. It's very capable of adapting and understanding and communicating and so on and so on. But then when we dig in a little bit deeper, it's really like important what is hidden under the surface, like the underworld, right? So focusing on those like positive intentions and focusing on these healthy and happy outcomes, we are allowing ourselves and we're allowing energies to come in and opportunities to come in and so on. On the top of the spread, we have the Three of Wands. This is the card that talks about. It is represented by the wand, which represents the fire element, action, passion, drive, and enthusiasm. But with the Three of Wands, we have the theme of like allowing yourself to stand still for a second. And it's a very good thing to do that because you're allowing to receive, you're allowing yourself to attract things, because you already know how much you have already done and how much of yourself you have already invested. This is a moment when you're like allowing your ships to come in and you can really be in that receptive mode, right? Six of Swords is the only card that we have on the table when it comes to the mind and the way of thinking. Focusing on releasing any thoughts that are blocking, any thoughts that are like blocking your growth and blocking your expression. They're draining your energy. And we're talking about the way of thinking here, right? And really focusing on good, healthy, and abundant stuff, people, situations, right? It's a huge movement, with the minor arcana energies, which are all of these that I'm talking about at the moment. We are talking about those energies that we can shift easier and quicker if there is awareness. I always say that awareness is probably the hardest thing to get to and then understand, like, what can I do to change those things. With major arcana cards, it's a different story. With major arcana, we are talking about significant big events that are maybe even out of our control, but what can I do to help myself ride those big waves easier and take the best out of it, right? When it comes to the Suite of Pentacles, this is energy we do want to see on the table, especially when there is a lot of water element. And with the Pisces season in general, we are talking about strong and deep emotions. Eight of Coins, which is the card of focusing on your craft, focusing on your skills, focusing on work on yourself. And then the Queen of Pentacles, which is the Queen of Abundance. This is the court card, this is the archetype of personality, either the energy you're stepping into or having someone close to you who has these qualities. She's stable, she's grounded, she's like very aware how she can use her resources and what would be the next thing she would like to create for herself as well. Talking about the eclipses, I should probably mention that we'll be having that polarity between Pisces and Virgo. So the last eclipses we were talking about the interaction of Aries and Libra, which are two opposite signs. So now we are like continuing the journey, continuing the Pisces. We have like quite a few planets in Pisces as well, which is significant. But thinking about how different these two zodiac signs are, Pisces being very deep, intuitive, emotional, so on, working with the underworld, working with the subconscious, and then having the Virgo energy, which is very present, very physical, very grounded, very detailed. By finding the way how to use the best of both, we can really like help ourselves to go through this shift and changes in the best possible way. What is happening with the eclipses, the masculine, which represents the sun energy, and the feminine represents the moon, are getting together, and they're like really potent. They're very strong. And what happens here is like there is a theme of releasing anything that has to be let go of, anything that has to be like moved on from, in order to allow space for fresh and new stuff and new experiences to come in. it's interesting that Virgo is the sign of health. We are talking about the health in all the three different ways, right? The mental, the physical, the emotional health, which is very, very important. And like, what can I do to ground myself? What can I do to nurture myself better? And so on. It's like, again, talking about the Piscean energy. Pisces are working with viruses. Pisces are working with health in a different way, in the opposite way, right? So no wonder that these two are like big teams right now. When it comes to the major arcana cards, we have the Tower and the Hermit. Let me talk about the Tower for a second. Crashing down all the structures, crashing down all those walls that we have built around ourselves. They feel safe and secure, but they are like not supporting us any longer. They're limiting. They're like sabotaging our growth. And we are ready for a change. We are ready for the shift. We don't know where to start from. And then something happens from like the higher forces in the universe. And like we are kicked out from that like comfort zone. I had this like when I was learning tarot, this is from my personal experience, when I was learning about tarot cards and how to like, work with them, I used to like ask same question over and over again. And one of the cards that would like appear frequently was the Tower. And if you see the image, like it's not like one of those cards you really want to see in a spread. But when you get to understand the exact meaning and how powerful and beneficial this energy is, you start appreciating, the Tower appearing, because this is what is like taking us closer to the new version of ourselves, what is taking us closer and bringing us to the right path, the path that is right for you and correct for you. And it's very like important to understand that the changes are happening. There is a shift in consciousness. If you think about a couple of decades ago, how things were happening and how like people were employed and like the way our minds were like programmed and so on, what is happening now, everything is shifting. And it's like, how do we go with that shift? How do we grow through that shift? And I think these are very, very positive changes. There is like a massive, massive conscious awakening on a larger scale. And I can see that by talking to people. I had like over like 50 conversations in last 2 days. And it's so beautiful to see how open we are to these kind of talks and how much we actually need it. Like we can finally talk about spirituality in a very like normal day-to-day conversations. Which before probably it was a little bit harder. It was more like related to the religion. And then if you go into like a specific, church or a mosque, or this is where you connect with your God or whatever it is. But now we are talking about connecting to your higher self. Like we are our own creators. We are our gods. I have no problem with like believing in like whatever gives you the empowerment, but as long as it's not taking your power away. So the last card from the spread is the Hermit. The Hermit is a Virgo card. It talks about knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, and the inner power and the power of the silence. Silence is that place that we often forget with everything happening, especially when there is like loads happening around there. It's very much about like going within, connecting to that inner light, connecting to that inner star that is here in that lamp, and going from that place. This is the work that you do for yourself, on yourself, by yourself, and it's super beneficial and it's super powerful because I do believe by knowing ourselves better, we can understand better people, situations around us, events around us as well. For the Oracle card and surprise card for the end of the deck, I have used my numerology deck, which I haven't used in a while. We are coming out of the weekend, which is the 222 portal, 22nd day of the second month. Very, very powerful frequencies and energies. So I felt driven and guided to use one of those cards. And the card that we have from the numerology guidance cards Oracle deck is the card number 71, called the Health. This makes like so much sense. I was talking about that Piscean and Virgo energy and how they're like influencing our health in general. And it's so important not to forget that what we feed our body with is like obviously very important, but equally what do we feed our mind and our soul and our spirit with? Like news you're listening to, videos you're watching, all those like social networks you're using. uh, I can give you the example, like my Facebook got hacked the other day, and at first you're like, what do I do? And then I just realized I don't need it. Honestly, like I don't really need it. You connect with your people, you connect with your tribe, with your community in different ways, and really like releasing those things that we are used to. They're becoming more like a block in our growth and energy, or becoming a little bit even toxic because it's like addicting in a way, to just like click on those apps. Understanding like why do I do it and what do I get out of it. This is also talking about the mental health, right? This is super important. Like how do we use those applications and how do we connect with each other? I say again, I have nothing against that. I get most of my connections and my work, and I spread the word through applications like YouTube, Instagram, and so on and so on. But like, where can we make that healthy balance, right? So very important understanding that your physical, mental, emotional health is what is going to help you to go through whatever is coming our way, ready or not, eclipses or not, and so on. But like with eclipses, I was actually like having a conversation with my mom yesterday. She's like, oh, like it was way before, it was way easier before because we didn't know about these things. But I think it's very good to be aware of what's happening, because what has to be eclipsed is going to be eclipsed. If what has to be removed is going to be removed. And I do believe in like growth in general. All we have to do is like, look after ourselves and people around us. So I'm going to leave you with those messages. I'm wishing you happy new moon, and I'm looking forward to speak to you in March, the month that will be fully charged with the energies, and let's see how we can work with those the best. Big love to all, and bye for now.